according to my source, the end of the world will be on February 14th in the year 2016.
Valentine's Day. Bummer. Where'd you get your date, Elaine?
I received this information from an alien.
I've looked at the timelines and it actually turns out that My Sister's Keeper is a prequel to The Human Centipede.
Really?
Who'd have thought? I was as shocked as you are, but anyway. Right, I've prepared. Anyway, welcome to the show. This is On Your Marks movie review with me, Mark Swan, and
me, Mark Anderson.
Hello. This is the second edition, isn't it?
This is our second video, yeah. Previous one was the Jurassic Park video.
It certainly was.
Yeah. We do have the second part coming out very shortly.
I was up till midnight editing it last night.
Oh wow!
It's yeah. So that should be dropping. What day are we on today? Wednesday.
27th today. Yeah, 27th Wednesday.
It'll be fine. I've prepared an introduction. If you'll indulge me.
Yeah, go on.
Right. Okay. We can cut to the trailer in this bit. So, 3 years after the last movie, which was 4 years after the reboot, which was 6 years after the video game, which was 4 years after the comic book relaunch, which was 6 years after the cartoon reboot, which was 7 years after the second movie, which was based on the original cartoon that came out after the first movie, fans finally get more Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Gil Keenan and Jason Reitman do to the Ghostbuster franchise what Homer Simpson did to Marge's face with the makeup shotgun. Frozen Empire gives us the promise of another sequel, opportunities for a TV spin-off, and leaves us with a fan base that is now more toxic than a golden shower off the Incredible Hulk.
Fantastic.
What were your initial reactions? What did you think of the movie?
Well, I loved it. I think with Afterlife, it ended the story from the first two movies. So you had Ghostbusters 1 and 2. And then Afterlife kind of closed the chapter on that.
Yeah.
And then with Frozen Empire now, it's kind of starting a new story with a new character base.
Yeah.
Obviously he's brought in Phoebe, Callie, Trevor and Gary.
Yeah. The new people from
the new people,
Afterlife.
Yeah. So with the R&D department that Zedmore Industries has brought in, it's kind of unfolding the story a bit more.
Yeah,
just making it
spin-off.
Yeah.
Like expanding the.
But at the same time, if they didn't make another one, it could finish there, and I think everyone would be quite happy.
Definitely, yeah. It manages to sort of tick a lot of the boxes for in terms of a Ghostbusters sequel.
Definitely.
How did you get on the fair? You watched this we both watched this on the Friday. You went to the cinema. You with the Merseyside Ghostbusters.
Yeah, we did the promo at the Liverpool One Odeon with the Merseyside Ghostbusters. It was a fantastic day. Yeah, very sore on my feet though. Oof. Yeah. But yeah, I digress.
Was everyone happy with it?
I think so, yeah. I think 99.9% of everyone who come out said that they loved it. I don't think there was any disappointing views or anything. Like instantly post-reaction views.
I made the mistake of seeing a lot of the internet fury.
So blind! You so do not understand! You weren't there at the beginning. You don't know how good it was, how important. This is it for you. This jumped up firework display of a toy advert. People like you make me sick.
That afternoon, I purposely stayed away from any kind of reviews, any kind of critical viewpoints. I'd stayed off the internet, but on social media you can't really unsee things.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to avoid, isn't it?
I seen the fury that was erupting. It was just civil war in the Ghostbuster fan groups. It was just everyone was going for the throat, and I kept on seeing the screenshots of the critical. The critical reaction of Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
it was 44, but the audience score was 85, and then it all just. It was like Anchorman when they all had that big battle in the street.
Yeah.
So that kind of soured it for me. I just thought, well, I don't want to go in thinking, oh God, is this going to be bad? Or thinking, oh God, I hope this is as good as everyone says it, because it was completely polarised. It was either the critics were saying it was terrible and the fans were saying it's the best thing ever. So I just went into the it was a Friday, and I'd had because I watched this twice. I've watched this in the cinema but I watched it also the night on the Friday night, but I also watched it on the Saturday night at home on the magic doofer that you get.
Oh, on the...
It's not quite a Fire Stick. I actually got it.
Version of
it. I got it off of the wise old Chinese wizard that sells Mogwais.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, he didn't have any Mogwais, so I got him a little magic doofer. He just said, yeah, lad.
How much did you charge it? Was it like...
Oh, I didn't actually pay him with money.
Oh,
I had shark's teeth, so I just give him some of those. But yeah, it's in the Baltic Triangle, you know, where all the hipsters go. It's all very gentrified. It's in between the vegan bakery and the gender fluid pet shop.
Okay.
So yeah, I had my experience of watching this film was a complete contrast to the first time I watched it in the cinema. I felt numb. It had been a long day in work.
Yeah.
I got home. It had been a stressful day. I got home. I got toothache from nowhere. So I ended up popping.
Did you eat too much popcorn in the cinema?
No. It was. This is before the film. So I popped 2 painkillers.
Did you get a bit too picky with the pick and mix?
Yeah. Jellied out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then so I was high on painkillers and left the cinema just sort of. I did. No, I was just numb. I just didn't really. It was very strange. I got into the car with my wife and we just sort of looked at each other, and we're like, yeah, it was a Ghostbuster film. But then fast forward 16 hours. I finished work early on the Saturday, got home, had a shower, put my pajamas on, ordered a takeaway, and sat down. I thought
best way to do it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it, just do it exactly like he's just said. Then
put my little magic toofer from the Mogwai shop in the TV and thought, right, well, I need to watch this again to take notes. And it was a completely different experience. As soon as the words Ghostbusters Frozen Empire came on, and the first few seconds, I was just sort of sat there. I was cosy, but I
transport you back to being a child again.
Well, no, not so much that. I just sat back and watched it for what it was. The nitpicky side of my brain was turned off. That I'd got that out the way. Normally it's the other way around. Normally I'll enjoy things and be immersed in it, and then on reviews, and then you rewatch them when they're on TV or a few weeks later. That's when you start to pick holes in things. This was the other way around.
Yeah.
I got all the nitpicky side of it out the way, and then the second time watching it, I was just watching it just as a Ghostbuster sequel, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I did it in reverse rather. So I'm looking forward to watching it again. You know, so it's.
I've watched it twice myself. I'm pretty much the same outlook. I've seen too many spoilers. Not so much stuff that everyone else hadn't seen, but there was people on the internet, and like you said before, the community has got a little bit toxic. It's soured a little bit, but it still didn't change my outlook on it. I still love Ghostbusters and the whole thing, from top to bottom. If it's got Ghostbusters on it, apart from the Filmation one, no one likes that one.
That's a strange one. I've never seen it, but I've only ever seen the DVD cover. I don't quite know what it is, or
I think it's set in the Victorian times. I've only ever seen a couple of episodes myself.
Oh, that's weird.
There's a certain someone I know who loves it, and I'm not sure why.
Oh dear.
Yeah. But anyway,
so let's talk about the story.
I loved it, and you could see elements of where I thought it was going to go in some parts of it. I thought there was going to be some sort of weird ghost love story.
Well, I mean, it's implied. I'm fine with that. I think that's great.
Done a complete hairpin and went the other way, and I'm like, oh, fair enough. I accept that.
Yeah, I think
like almost like they didn't want to give in to common formats.
Yeah,
of movie making.
Yeah,
they kind of implied it, but then they went, no, we're going to go the other way. Yeah. Which is good.
I thought it was great because it was. I think that's one of the only noteworthy plot points that wasn't in the trailer.
Yeah.
Everything in this film is in the trailer,
yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff in the trailer that's not in the movie, which was a bit strange. But yeah,
let's not talk about the red coats.
Well, again, not to bash the fan base, but a lot of the things on Facebook is people. Taking the piss out of the fact that everyone's gone out and bought expensive red coats, but the red coats were clearly in the movie. So it's
there's so many screen grabs, isn't there? Of them all stood there.
There's a lot of screen grabs. They probably either deleted scenes or rewrites.
You almost think.
I mean, we'll get onto that later about the rewrites.
Was it a franchise spin, or did they just not make the cut? Did the scenes just not make it?
It's a combination of
link
both,
up.
I think. But I mean, the red coats were in the movie. They are now part of canon. It's cool to see them. They look great.
I will admit, I did go out and buy a red coat. I didn't buy the red coat because they were just ridiculously priced. I think they were around £250.
Well, yeah, I just think it was odd that these people in these fan groups who've all got a common interest, who all love the same thing. You've got people now just making jokes of the fact that people have gone out and bought red coats, and it's just stupid and it's weird and it's toxic. People just need to learn to just like what they like. But
I have ribbed my friends for buying the red coats, but it's just out of sheer jealousy, to be fair. I really wanted one of them, but they were just too expensive.
But they looked cool on screen. They look great.
They do look fantastic.
But so yeah, the story, it's like a perfect sort of 3-act structure. It's not too sort of convoluted. It goes along at a nice pace. But again, some of the critical responses about this movie seem to be that it's like people copy and paste reviews from other people, and they don't watch the movie themselves. They just cut and paste the review. But one of them was the storyline was there were too many characters, and there was not enough for them to do, and the story was convoluted. I don't think the story was convoluted at all. I think it felt like an episode of the actual cartoon for me, and
very much so.
It was a nice tight.
And I think there's a few nods to the real Ghostbusters cartoon in there. I think there's a phantasm ghost in it,
something like that. Yeah,
it haunts a Hoover, and there's an episode called Gigawatt, I think, from series 1 or 2, and sort of the big power station ghost takes over lamps and Hoovers. So I think there's a couple of little nods to the real Ghostbusters universe just being dragged into the movie world. I loved it. It was great. I think the way they built the characters as well, rather than they just kind of follow on from Ghostbusters Afterlife, where Guy Gruberson's a little bit goofy, Callie's a little bit hesitant, and cynical. Phoebe's this little awkward kid. Everything kind of just expands a little bit more and becomes a little bit better.
They grow up and they evolve slightly, and they feel more like a family unit.
Yeah, like Paul Rudd's character, Gary Gruberson's taking on this father role, but he's almost hesitant to want to be the dad.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's the scene near the end where she calls him dad, and it's just a little bit.
Yeah, there's nice little bits of there's nice character stuff in there, and I'm glad that it's not just literally days later. I'm glad this whole movie wasn't just them setting up the firehouse. Really. I think they say on the newsreel that a year ago, it's been a year since Egon Spengler passed away, so we're inside 9 months to 12 months. Yeah. It's like the next summer, basically. So I'm glad that the whole movie wasn't just them going to the firehouse and finding all the rooms in the firehouse, loads of it,
we've already established that in the first movie.
Exactly.
Go back into it,
I'm glad a year has gone by and they're established now as they are the Ghostbusters.
Yeah. But you can always see some of the parody scenes from the first movie in this one, like the scene where they end up in the mayor's office. Yeah,
nice little
for causing havoc in the city.
The callbacks weren't too in your face this time. I think they showed a little bit of restraint, which was good. Yeah, it wasn't too long, was it either? The movie
no, it was an hour and 57 or
something like that. Yeah, it was refreshingly short, I think. Well, compared to
I don't know what the critics were saying. These nasty people talking about how they didn't get too much of the story from each character's in.
Yeah.
There was too much going on, there wasn't enough going on. I thought it was just compact enough that you didn't lose focus, your attention didn't stray away from it, and you weren't getting lost in too much.
It was easy to follow. I think there was enough things for the characters to do. I mean, I don't think you can have... I mean, there weren't too many characters. I don't think there's any such thing as too many characters in a story. If the story needs them and they've got things to do, even if they've got minimal roles, I don't think there's any such thing as too many characters. The characters were all there for a reason. Yeah. But the new characters, I do like the new characters.
Yes. I've already forgotten his name. Lars Pinfield.
Yeah.
He was played by
James
Acaster. Yeah.
Acaster
brilliant.
Acaster.
And he's almost took on this Egon role
He's like an English Egon.
Yeah,
If there's a
definitely
European
so.
Ghostbusters spin-off show, he is going to be...
Oh God, definitely.
That facility, I can see that being a Netflix show.
Yes.
Lucky, Lars, a few of the characters we didn't actually quite see,
Yeah.
just in the background. One of
And
them
it
had
was
a
the odd
slime gun, didn't he?
Yeah, oh God, yeah, it's
In the background, the mood,
yeah, the slime blows.
reference the mood slime as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you were going to cut down the amount of characters, I suppose if you had to, Lars's character could have been given to Lucky or Podcast. Maybe Ray could have had Patton Oswalt's exposition scene in the library. Maybe
I think when you look at the transition between the old cast and the new cast, you can almost see the transfer of roles, can't you?
Yeah.
Obviously, Ray to Podcast. Then you've got Lars Pinfield to Egon. You know, that kind of transition between them. Gary Grooves in the Daft, you know, Peter Venkman role, and then obviously you've got the kids. But unlike Jurassic Park, these kids don't ruin a movie.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, if we were talking about trying to trim down the amount of characters, I suppose was his name Nadeem? The fire breaker, fire master.
Fire master, yeah.
Maybe you could have give that part to Lucky, and then maybe Trevor could have become friends with the ghost melody. Do you mean if you did have to truncate the amount of characters down to the original 6 from Afterlife, but it wouldn't have been as good. You know, just expand it. It's fine. But yeah, so
it gives them their own arcs, doesn't it? Their own backstories.
I don't think the movie was too long or convoluted,
no,
and I don't think there were too many characters. The story was a nice 3-act structure. You know, the first act introduces us to the characters, lets us know what they're all doing, where they all are, and gives us the MacGuffin that's haunted. And then it fades to black with Melody being spoken to by the big bad villain.
Yeah.
The second act, is that's where it starts to roll along. We get all the backstory of the villain, and then we get the clue that Nadeem is the fire.
Because I hadn't noticed it from one of the first opening scenes where when the fireman goes in and takes the orb off the person sat on the stage, she's wearing Nadeem's Nana's outfit,
the veil,
and I didn't make the connection until obviously they mentioned it. I was like, oh yeah, great.
It was a nice little thing. The second time I watched it as well, I found a lot more clues.
Well, there's loads of Easter eggs in it. And did you get any of the movie references?
As in,
when the Phantasm takes over Ecto 1, it's like nod to Christine.
Oh, I didn't know get out at the time.
There's also one of the beach scene where the woman's having the sun cream put on her back. It's a little nod to Jaws.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And when
this is why I want to watch it again now, because I'll...
When the trike comes towards the firehouse, it's Shining.
Shining.
Yeah.
Ah.
And apparently there's 2 more in it, but I couldn't remember what they were, or I didn't see them myself. But yeah, I'll have to have a look for them again. Yeah,
see, and again, this is why I'm happy, because I'm eager to watch it again a third time, which is that's unusual for me.
Yeah.
So
it's not noticeable.
Yeah, like I say,
usually spot on with that.
I know.
See, this is what all the toxic fan base has done. It's that direct distracted you.
Yeah, and again, being in the cinema, big multiplex cinemas on a Friday night. I mean, the theatre was empty, but
Did you watch it in? Was it Dolby or IMAX?
Just Dolby. Theatre was quite quiet, but we still had the loudest, most obnoxious people 3 rows back talking from minute 1 to the last minute.
We were quite lucky because there was
very annoying. I hate going to the cinema.
The 9 of us, the 9 Ghostbusters in our team, and there was probably maybe 10 other people, but they were spread out throughout the cinema, and there was no real shit chatting, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, but I think it's just
popcorn.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, they give us a large popcorn.
I get free fuck all if anyone. Yeah. Oh well. So back to the story. The third act. The second act concludes with 2 of my favourite scenes. Phoebe has now been arrested. She gets a real dressing down from Gary. Finally, again, good little character growth, and it's the tone of the movie shifts completely. And then, just in that scene in the cell, because she's back to square one, you know, just like it was in Afterlife, she's tried, but she's fucked everything up. And then it
I think Gary has learned from that as well because of the almost comedy value attitude he has towards it in the first movie, in Afterlife.
Yeah.
And then now it's like completely flipped, like you said.
Yeah, it's like just character growth. It's good. They could have easily just repeated everything, but it's nice that they put in some little bits of drama in there. And then again, the scene straight after is Winston and Ray, and they're shouting at each other. It must be
parodies
difficult.
It really, doesn't it?
Well, I thought it was really grounded, that scene, because it could have been comedic, the way they're sort of shouting over each other, and then Winston just like says, "Ray, shut up! You could have get one of these kids killed." And it was like, wow, this is it. And Ray just looks so sort of crestfallen.
Even though the characters are built, them two characters, they've been built since 1984. They're still building the character base.
Because now Winston is he's the adult one. He's the one who's sort of in charge of it all. I think it's fantastic. I think it's really, really good.
And I think based on what Ernie Hudson said recently about him almost feeling like pushed out from the original movie. It's great now that he's given practically the
keys to the kingdom, as it were.
Yeah, he is the new keymaster.
Reference. Well, I like it, and they are going to be in these movies till they drop, because they're going to keep churning. If Sony makes their money, they're going to keep churning these out, which more the merrier. But I think Bill Murray, maybe he'll come back each time a little bit less. Maybe next time he'll do something quirky and very Bill Murray-esque. Like just say to them, "No, you've got the rights to my image. Just CGI me as a ghost."
Oh God, yeah.
And but Ray and Winston are going to be in these.
I think Annie Potts as well. I think she's more than happy to come back.
And she didn't have so much as a cameo. I mean, she was a character in it. We see her at the beginning and in the middle and at the end.
And she gets to suit up as well.
She does, Like I say, all the legacy characters now, rather than just getting shoehorned in at the end, they are dropped in this story in a more organic way.
More involved into it.
100%. They are actual characters, tertiary characters.
More fluidly, rather than, like you say, just thrown in at the end. But with Afterlife, I quite like the way that they were crowbarred in at the end, because it gave you that. It built and built and built, and just when you thought it was going to kind of plateau out, you got that little extra, and you're like, team back together.
I liked the way that they arrived to help, but I think if we'd have seen just the odd scene throughout the movie,
it'd have been less of an impact.
I don't know. I mean, if we'd have seen Bill Murray in a university getting a phone call off Ray, and then it just cuts away, and then if we'd have seen Winston, if Ray had come and spoke to Phoebe on the phone, I don't know. I think it would have worked better. But I mean, that's personal preference. But it was still cool to see them. But it's nice to see them.
Unless they've done that on purpose, so they didn't take the emphasis from the new characters.
I suppose, But I think the ending was nice and quick as well. It wasn't because as soon as they got to the firehouse and it became frozen, I just prepared myself then for a 45-minute convoluted, ridiculous ending.
Overly scripted.
3 of you have to go on the roof. As soon as there was a laser fired into the sky, I thought, oh fuck me, here we go. It's just turned into every other movie.
Their maintenance bill must be through the roof.
Oh god, literally. No pun intended.
Sorry.
But you know what I mean though? I didn't want to end up with 3 characters on the roof fighting a certain ghost, and then 2 other ones going down to the basement to do something to the containment unit to suck Slimer into it, so he can then dissipate into a load of like little versions of Slimer and have fights with the Stay Puft miniatures. So I'm so happy it was just a case of this is what we do. There's the baddie, and the save the day, and then it's done. I liked the fact it was refreshingly wrapped up quickly.
Just on a total tangent, the first trailer that they released gave us the Bananarama Cool Summer.
I love that song.
Fantastic song. I almost felt like they were going to throw more of a soundtrack in, and
I didn't think of that.
There was nothing. They hinted at like a possible 80s, 90s soundtrack. There was nothing.
I didn't think of that. I didn't think that was
I was a little bit disappointed.
I think Sony missed a trick there.
Wake me up before you go. Don't leave me hanging on like a yo-yo.
Anyway, just on that Slimer topic there, we usually go into the containment unit. There is another real Ghostbusters episode. I can't remember if it's called Sam Hain, but it's based on the ghost Sam Hain, Pumpkinhead one. Where he mesmerises all the ghosts to work for him, to do his bidding, almost the same way Garaka does with Melody and the other ghosts to do their bidding.
See again, yeah, they could have.
So there's another little nod to the RGB.
Yeah, I like the thought of them, going through the various media and picking little bits of ideas out.
And I think with the progression of the tools, the proton packs, the traps, the evolution of them all, you can almost see that extreme Ghostbusters element which is coming to it. I
got that as well, yeah. Especially when with the new characters, and in the comics as well. There's tons of other characters. There's other versions of Ghostbusters that crop up, and then one character will stay, and then the rest of them will go, and then they've got loads of different people working for them all over the country. And they come in at different times. And
isn't one of the IDW comics? IDW?
IDW, yeah.
Isn't the one where they have an English charter of the Ghostbusters in it?
I think they've got a European one. I haven't read that many of them before it finished. But yeah, I think there's a Chicago one, and there's one called a place called Ghostbusters that try to copy what they're doing, and they get them closed down. But one of the Ghostbusters starts working for them, and they've got an FBI liaison and everything. So it's really expansive.
The original title of the movie meant to be Ghostbusters?
I think it might be. Yeah. Again, it's a nod. I think it's Chris Barnum and Dan Schoening. Dan Schoening's artwork is fantastic, because I kept on thinking of this movie as an animated movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have got very much criticism off anyone if this movie was written exactly the same, voiced by the characters the same, but if it was animated, people would have loved it.
I think they could quite easily transition to that.
Definitely.
With the character base, they're still quite young and poppy, they could easily go into that.
Because it felt like it was written like it was an animated movie. It was very basic. There wasn't any, the dialogue was very, very snappy and punchy. It wasn't terribly realistic, but it doesn't need to be, because it's just an adventure movie, and it needs to go along at a decent pace. It was jarring to me at first, but again, on the second watch, when you've actually invested, once you've bought into what it is, it's just, it's a Ghostbusters sequel. It didn't bother me, and it made sense. I thought, right, this has been written like it's almost like a cartoon, and I was fine with that.
Yeah,
it made sense.
I love that. Yeah.
Bill Murray's scene. This is not me being nitpicky. Again,
the one with him.
His first scene when he's in the office, when he's interviewing Nadine.
Oh yeah.
He's got his name on the door in the facility, so he knows that's there, and he works there.
Yeah, because you see the door shut behind him, don't you?
Yeah, and it says Dr. Beckman, so he works in the facility, but no one, they didn't mention that when they brought them to the facility, which I thought was strange.
Yeah.
But then when he turns up at the very end, it's like he hasn't seen them for ages.
Get all their names on the coats as well.
Yeah, so they must keep the things.
Unless it's Winston just preparing everything, having everything in place, ready for the eventual return of everyone.
Because that got a bit confusing in the opening sort of half an hour. It struck me a bit strange that some of the transitions from the shots, some of these introductions to the characters, Phoebe goes to Ray's occult books, and then she bumps into Podcast, and he's meant to be at space camp or maths camp, but it's a bit of a shock to her. She's like, oh, so you're here.
So you're living here now or something?
Yeah, and so it's like, well, do you not text? Do you not speak? You were friends inside a year ago, so that was a bit strange. I thought that was unnecessary.
When she introduces Podcast to Trevor, when he's Rob Deco 1, and she goes, this is my friend.
Yeah, so they know each other, so I thought that was a bit strange, the fact that Podcast is working with Ray.
And it hasn't really been that long, like you said before.
No, so it's a surprise to Phoebe. So she meets up with Podcast in that kind of way. I thought that was a bit clunky. That could have done with some refinement in the way it was written. And then the same thing happens again when they get to the facility, when Trevor bumps into Lucky, and I think he says, oh, so this is your internship? And she's like, oh yeah. And I think, well, again, do you not text? No. Surely, so they're friends. She's moved to the city where he is now.
Is that just something that they didn't want us to realise?
I just think it was just bad writing that should have been refined.
Yeah.
You should have. That scene could have been a lot different.
Well, I reckon one of the scenes from the trailers where Lucky gets frozen and you can see the
Which
spike
is
of
not
ice
in the
coming
movie,
towards
yeah.
her. I think from the initial screening, the reaction's been, oh no, we can't kill her off. We need to keep her in.
Do you think she was going to get killed
I
off?
think she was going to get killed off.
Oh God, no! I mean, they do kill someone in this movie. The man in the vape shop. He walks. Garak goes in. Are you the fire master? And he gets frozen, and then he gets impaled with like a spike of ice. It just shoots through him and goes into the shelf, much like Terminator.
Oh God, yeah.
Through the milk, yeah.
Maybe that was another nod. Another movie reference.
Maybe it was a nod to Terminator. Yeah.
If anyone out there has also seen any of the little new movie nods to any of the past movies, please let us know in the comment section below.
Yeah, please do. Please hit like and subscribe.
Definitely.
And let us know what you think. Don't be abusive, just be friendly.
Yeah, yeah. We did have someone troll us on one of our earlier videos, and I discovered it was my son.
He commented poop, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I was mortified.
I was
so hurt.
devastated, and then I realised it was the same picture he was using on his WhatsApp, so he didn't get away with that one. He now no longer has a laptop.
Needs to cover his tracks better.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think we've covered a lot of it. We've covered the story. It's not too long, not too quick.
Yeah, we've covered the character building.
Yeah. We've talked about the multiverse extensively now throughout the whole thing, which is good. Is there an extended cut? You know, because we were just talking about the trailer.
Apparently so. Apparently there will be a deleted scene cut. I think Jason said last week, maybe, the end of last week, that there will be a director's cut.
I certainly hope so, because yeah,
it'll justify the red coat wearers.
Oh God, don't see he said that, not me.
I'm joking, I'm ruining you.
Can I just go over another little thing that I was that again, nitpicky mark on this shoulder, and then joyful happy mark on this shoulder. Nitpicky mark's grumpy, joyful mark is happy and has rose tinted glasses on all the time. Nitpicky mark rolled his eyes so fucking hard he almost had a stroke. The pole now being essentially a fucking character.
This was
turned
brought
to
up.
Vicky and I think I actually said to her, "What the fuck are you messing?" No, sorry, that was when the librarian administrator turns up outside. 40 years later, he's got the same job, and No, that was that we could have done without that. But again, sorry, I'm back.
I didn't mind that, to be honest.
I'm getting distracted. The pole. They chop up the pole, melt it down, all in the space of about just 10 minutes. But then the next shot, you see the pole, and the pole is normal.
Well,
it was fine. The second time I watched it, I thought it was quite funny. But the first time I seen that, I thought it was
we commented about this after the movie. The fact that the pole was broken, melted, and it suddenly reappears. So, is the firehouse haunted? And is the firehouse self-repairing itself?
Maybe, because Ray does say it's something does he say psychically charged?
Yeah.
Which is
because they're talking about.
I mean,
we got any copper, and they said no, but we've got brass, and then obviously they pan across to the scene with the pole.
Of course, yeah.
And he said that there's enough psychically charged energy in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, Winston does say this is a doorway. This is what keeps the two worlds from colliding.
There possibly has been about 3 explosions in that firehouse. 2-3 explosions.
It's 2, isn't it? It doesn't. It's relatively unscathed.
Yeah. 2. Sorry, yeah. So both times the containment unit has been breached. So chances are, it's going to have some sort of kinetic energy stored up and built up within it. And if it's a conduit, then
Yeah. So that is good.
I'm all for believing that, by the way. I'm all for believing that.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see you thinking, if it's not, then why?
Yeah.
It is a bit eye-rolly.
Yeah, but again, that's just me being a miserable old stick in the mud.
When I got home after watching the movie on the Friday, my missus read to me So was it good? And I was like, there's no point in asking me because I'm biased.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you an honest opinion. I said, if you want an honest opinion, ask Swan. Because he's passionate and he's also educated enough to give an unbiased opinion, whereas I just love it. And I wouldn't say a bad thing about it unless it's the 2016 Aston Call movie.
That movie is still getting dragged through the mud in the comments section.
They should have just called it something else. Instead of sticking Ghostbusters on it and trying to attach itself to the franchise, they should have just called it something else.
Yeah. I mean, for what it gets right and what it gets wrong, for all its flaws, I mean, it tried to do something a little bit different.
You're friendly, you have to listen to me. Get out of the city! Get out of the city!
But my main issue is people are still criticising that film, but when people were arguing on Friday, you had the people who didn't like the new movie, you had people who loved the new movie, you had both of them calling each other you're not a real fan. You're not a real fan if you don't like this movie, you're not a real fan if you do. But then they were all in agreement that it's still better than the 2016 reboot.
Yeah.
But I think there's double standards creeping in now, because if people are going to shout it from the rooftops that it's Ghostbusters, therefore just enjoy it and let people enjoy it and let people enjoy what they like, then maybe stop berating the movie and fans of that movie, because people in the comments section, they can't just criticise the movie, they openly criticise the fans who like that movie, and it's not right. People need to learn to differentiate what they enjoy and what is a good craft.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's split there, but I think, like you say, if people like it for what it is, then just let them like it. Stop being stop being gatekeepers with it.
Yeah, be a keymaster, not a gatekeeper. I'm not quite sure that made sense, but I said it anyway, and
we'll make it make sense.
I might cut it out, I might not. With my newfound editing skills, we'll see. But yeah, so there wasn't too much. There wasn't nostalgia bukkake like there was in Afterlife. We weren't showered with it. We weren't covered in hot nostalgia.
The scene when Phoebe first goes to play chess in the park.
I loved that scene.
And when she puts the chess pieces out, and obviously the first chess piece moves, and then Melody turns up.
My initial thought was it's Egon.
Yeah, and then
like,
she goes, oh.
Yeah.
She's disappointed that it's not. And I like that little bit, because I wanted them to come back a little bit. Even if he just plays like that one bit where he's just playing chess with it in the park, and then that's all he does in the movie.
I'd have probably walked out of the cinema.
Really?
If Egon would have been sat opposite her, I would have.
But they reference it, don't they, when she says you need to finish what you're doing.
You need to resolve something on this.
So that you go back into the universe.
Which I thought was a really nice touch. Yeah.
It wasn't too like overfilling the jug. They didn't overdo it with the romantic element of it, or the.
No, it was just it was a nice scene. It was a nice connection between the two characters. Whether it was just friendship or whether there was like a romantic element to it, I thought they were two nice characters. I thought it was a nice take on the idea. Yeah. We haven't seen that in the movie version before. We haven't seen a Ghostbuster make friends with a ghost. But
I think that might be another nod to the real Ghostbusters, where they keep sliming around.
We see that more. Ghost. Yeah, the ghosts have got more characters in the animated show. But yeah, I think it was nice. But yeah, I'd have been very angry if it was Harold Ramis CGI'd again. But it was nice that Phoebe. That's not nice. It's a shame that Phoebe has now seen two people in the space of a 12-month period literally disappear into the ether, as it were. Do you know what I mean? It's she's not Egon do it. She's not having the best of an emotional roller coaster, is she? She doesn't know how to keep friends. Yeah, I mean the friends she does have, her friends are alive. She doesn't know when they're in the same fucking city as her. Yeah. And what 15-year-old doesn't have a phone these days? Like, seriously? I know. I mean, she can build a fucking proton pack, but she can't work out how to do iTunes. Or send a text message to someone. We need to we need to make a little map of where everything is in this movie. Razor Cult. the firehouse, the public library, and the facility.
Sorry,
we need to
another
find
tangent. Have you seen that?
A tangent on a tangent.
That
That's
latest
like
Easter egg
tangents.
where they're outside the museum and there's a board of a concert, and on the bottom it says Dana Barrett.
I seen that on social media this morning. Yeah. That was when they're actually outside the library on Fifth Avenue before they go in the museum. Before they go in the library. When they come out the library to get the proton pack from Ray's bike, it's not Fifth Avenue, that's a sound stage. That's the worst green screen I've ever fucking seen.
Really?
Green screen in broad daylight looks terrible. If you're going to have a green screen behind characters, you've got to have low light. You've got to have to set it at night or dusk or dawn. Or
I'll have to rewatch that just to...
Green screen in broad daylight looks absolutely shocking. But anyway, that's so film locations. I want to see where everything is. The firehouse, Razor Cult Books, the facility.
So we could pull up like a New York map, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Put where everything is.
Yeah, on the public library. Just to see where everything is, just because I'm sad, I'm pathetic and a bit of a wanker.
This will be on the screen in the final cut. We will.
Yeah.
We will do it.
Again, editing skills.
He's got the skills.
I've got a wise old Chinese man that gives me magic doofers.
It's not
not wise. He does my editing for me. Gremlins, we need to do a video on Gremlins.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Isn't there a couple of scenes? Oh no, it's Back to the Future. They use the same part, don't they, from Back to the Future?
The back lot. Yeah. That's a good little. It's very once you see it, you can't unsee it. Yeah. It makes you. It's shocking that you've.
They use a different angle, don't they? But you can't
yeah, it just looks like every sort of like American. Idyllic town, like Bedford Falls and It's a Wonderful Life.
God,
it's that picture postcard vision of America that
imagine
does not
It's a Wonderful Life ties somehow.
Oh, I'm sure there's ways and means.
There's going to be a connection between that and Human Centipede.
I think the zombie taxi driver who wasn't in this movie, shockingly enough, I thought we would have had an entire backstory. He could be the same taxi driver from It's a Wonderful Life. Bert and Ernie, the cop and the taxi driver.
Definitely.
That zombie taxi driver could be Bert or Ernie. I don't know which is which, so it's Bert and or Ernie.
We'll look into this.
We'll research it. We'll do the hard work, and then we'll tell you. What's left to talk about? The music. I thought the soundtrack was a lot better. Sorry, not the soundtrack. The musical score was much more its own thing this time. One of my big issues with Afterlife, again, this is probably nitpicky, but the music from Afterlife was just, they were taking these little tiny bits of music from the first movie,
of the Elmer Bernstein score?
Yeah, which is one of my favourite movie scores of all time. It's immaculate, but they cannibalised it to such a degree in Afterlife, and they were taking these little tiny riffs and making them bombastic.
Over exaggerating them.
Yeah, and they were doing that through the action scenes as well in Afterlife, and it completely clashed with what you were seeing on screen.
Yeah.
I personally, that's just me being arsey and miserable. Grandpa Simpson again. But yeah, I think the music was much better. It was its own composition, but it still borrowed a few little bits from the first one that just reminded you that this is the same universe.
I would have liked a little bit of the original soundtrack, a little bit more of the original soundtrack.
I think we got one that was heavily inspired by the.
Because you had obviously Clean Up the Town by the Busboys.
Oh, you mean the actual songs?
Saving the Day by Alessi, the Alessi Brothers, are they called?
I think they're called Alessi. Yeah.
Maybe something along them lines, like we touched on before about the soundtrack promising and then not delivering with Cruel Summer. I think it just needed to deliver a little bit more on the music elements.
Yeah. If they were more 80s songs, that might have been more nostalgia bukkake.
Possibly, yeah.
So it's probably it could have gone either way, but I get what you're saying. That would have been interesting. I mean, you could always do your own little playlist, couldn't you?
Definitely.
1984 hits.
I'm just gonna have to pick songs and see if I can paste them over certain scenes to see if they work.
Oh, and me being grumpy again. I'm talking about nostalgia. I've noticed some very odd things the last few days. People saying that, oh, this movie, it made me feel like how I felt when I was 11 when I first went to watch this. And you look at their profile picture, they look about 25, you think, fuck me, mate, are you reincarnated? How could you? We would have had to have been 50. I mean, we're 40 now. So we would have been 1 year,
1 year old when it came out, yeah.
Yeah, 9 months to 1 year old when this came out. This came out in June. I was July. What are you?
April. Next month.
So yeah, it's how fucking young were some of these people when they went to see this film?
I don't think I seen it till I was possibly 10, maybe 11.
Yeah, mate. I mean, you have been the same as me. We got into Ghostbusters surely through the toys and the cartoon, and then we've become aware of the movie in the video shops. Late in the late 80s because in time for the second movie.
Yeah, I think I've probably seen them. Probably not that far apart. One and two. After the Ghostbusters 2's initial release.
But I don't understand why people are just lying about it online in the comment section. Just saying, I took my 14-year-old son to see this and he enjoyed it just as much as I did when I was 14 in the cinema. And I think, fucking hell, that makes you about 56? Fucking hell. Stop it, get off the internet, get a hobby. But keep watching our channel, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe and comment.
Comment nice things though.
Not poop. On the subject of toxic fans, this is making me absolutely dread Alien Romulus. This is kind of a tangent, but you know what I mean? Because I think
it's a nice segue into our next video.
It is. Yeah, that's coming hopefully next 2 weeks maybe. Our next one is going to be an Alien and Predator rankings. We're not going to use our rankings. We're going to do the internet rankings basically to see what the internet thinks, because that's what the zeitgeist is now. It's internet reactions.
That's what everyone wants. So that's what we'll give you.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the movie because I'll like it either way, because it looks like it's going to be like really nicely shot and gory and violent and tense. It's going to have all the ingredients, but. I hope they keep elements of the original, the first two movies. I think they will.
It still holds that Stanley Kubrick elements from the first movie, but they keep that gritty space marine war movie element from the second one, and they just find a good common ground in the middle.
Yeah, I'm not worried about anything like that. It's just it's the fan reaction leading up to the movie. Because you're going to have people who are going in and berating the movie because it's not a carbon copy of the first film from 44 years ago. And then you're going to have people who are saying, well, just stop making them, or I don't know. It's just,
I know someone who says stuff like that. They go, oh, well, how many more of these movies are they going to make? They should just stop making them, or,
Yeah,
no, because if the fans want them, why not?
Yeah.
It's not like they're remaking it carbon copy. Is it? They're not like, it's a new version or a next chapter of it. So yeah, carry on.
Yeah, I'll be staying off the internet the days before that movie comes out, because I don't want it to sour the experience.
Yeah, I made the mistake with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I made the mistake of checking social media from like Wednesday onwards, because I thought I was safe. I thought I'd passed the threshold of spoilers. But obviously all the people who've been to see the premiere in London or all over the world, they couldn't help themselves.
Yeah.
They just had to post this, that and the other. It was annoying because they just wasted 2 days, 48 hours. Yeah. That's all they need to do. And there was little pictures, there was little snippets from the screen, some pictures in the cinema or this, that and the other. And I'm just thinking, just wait.
Yeah.
There's a whole fan base out there who don't want to see it. They want to go and enjoy the full extent of the movie for themselves, and these small sections just can't resist. Oh, I've seen it first, I've been there, I've done this. It's like, just stop it. Just stop doing it.
Yeah.
If you get invited to a premiere, just, enjoy it there. Don't spread the word.
Yeah. Get told, internet.
Sorry, I'm rambling.
I can't believe I wasted time talking to you haggard pumpkins.
So to summarise.
I think we've covered everything, haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, one more thing. Nitpicky.
Nitpicky?
This is very much nitpicky. Nitpicky markers there. The library scene with the library ghost. I thought it would have been a good. What am I trying to say? I think it was a missed opportunity for them to actually utilise that ghost. I mean, we knew we were going to see her. We knew but when we see her, and
because again, it had been leaked.
Yeah, well, it hadn't been leaked. It was in the fucking trailer.
Oh yeah.
Everything in this movie is in the trailer. There's nothing to spoil, except the, like I say, Melody Ghost and Nadine being the firebreaker. But anyway, fire master, fire starter, fire stick. No, well, so we see the library ghost, and then we see her come at Ray like she does just in the 1984.
Just like,
even though in 1984 they were very much the agitators, she was just hanging out in a library.
And she does tell them to.
Yeah, and they go for it. But I think it would have been a nice little nod to that if they were looking for something in that library, because like either the book that they need to read for the background of Garaka, or the wax cylinders. If they were just looking for something, maybe we could have seen the ghost in the background, and then maybe a little ghost hand could have pushed the book off a shelf.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just something, just a little thing. It didn't have to be just literally a
carbon copy scene,
cut and paste of the. I mean, they even used the same soundtrack. It looks like the exact same shot.
And you know what? I hope they have used the exact same shot and they've just mashed it over.
I think that would be fucking dreadful.
That'd be posh. The original.
That would be Sony taking it to a new level. Oh, can we talk about how shit Sony are?
Oh, I don't have a cat. It's a dog. His name's my cat.
Your dog's name is my cat?
And Mike Hat.
Your dog's name is Mike, last name Hat.
Well, his full name is Michael Hat.
I can't say that I'm allergic to dogs, so...
Based on Ghostbusters or Madam Web?
Well, Madam Web, but just their movie releases in general. They're not very good at making movies.
No.
And I think we will get a sequel if this makes money. As it stands now, when I checked last night, it was on. The budget is 100 million. Now I think that's quite small. I think that's quite a low budget for a big summer blockbuster. I think that's not a great deal of money, $100 million. But it's made $60.6 million on its opening weekend, which I think
didn't it break the 1 billion mark as well?
The franchise did, not the movie. That was very misleading, and I shared that with you, so that was my fault.
That's fine.
But yeah, it's so the opening weekend. It's had a healthy opening weekend, but the thing with the critical score being the massive differential between audience ratings of 85 and critical ranking of 44. Well, it's now 42. I checked this morning.
What?
When there's that much lack of parity, sort of general audiences will look at that and are influenced by it. Ghostbusters fans like me and you will go and see it regardless. We won't really give a shit. It might sort of paint our views of it, but we'll still pay money to go and see that movie.
Definitely. I don't mean to say uneducated, but the uneducated viewer will obviously look at these reviews
general audience
and absorb them, and they'll take them in and they'll just regurgitate them exactly verbatim. You've got to take what's the word I'm looking for? A less of a cynical approach to it. Make up your own judgment of it. Don't be swayed too much by everyone else's.
Well, yeah, but I think the issue is the casual moviegoers will be put off by the critical response, and that could have a detrimental effect on the second weekend. You know, the opening weekend, you make a lot of your money if you have a good one. The drop off between the first and second weekend is what sort of makes or breaks a movie. If it drops off too much, it's going to sort of crawl to breaking even. Whereas if it has a relatively strong second weekend, it's going to be okay.
I think based on the fans' view of it, it could have a negative effect as well. Because with everyone wanting to see it there and then, from the off, the drop-off will come quicker
Yeah.
because everyone will have seen it within the first week or within the first 10 days.
Yeah.
And then the drop-off will come a lot quicker.
So that's when you need general audiences to look at an average sort of what's the word? An average overview of what the response is. So I think that's when general audiences come into play because people still just keep going to the cinema.
Yeah, it seems like they need to change the almost like review outlook format.
Yeah.
Go off the initial and then don't so much take everything to heart from the second and third week.
Yeah. So I think that the main takeaway is just...
But saying that, they can't really use the fan base review of it because it seemed overly biased.
And it is, so it is. It's massively over biased.
You need to take more of a your general admission.
Go off an average, basically. Yeah. The average will be what in the 60s. What's the average between 42 and 85? That's the. Sorry, 42 and 86. What's that? That's around about 64, 65. We're not very good at maths. But as an average, so 6.5 out of 10. That's all right. That's decent. That's okay. I
think it'll still generate enough to produce another sequel.
Yeah, I just hope it makes its money. I hope the general audiences aren't put off too much with, like I say, this huge differential in the critical score and the audience score, because like you say, they are both massively biased.
Yeah.
Critics seem to be bashing this movie because they're expecting something that's close to the first movie, which is nonsense. You're never going to get anything close to the original movie.
The original format for the first movie, comedy horror, with the actors in their primes practically.
Well, everything's perfect about the movie. It's almost a fluke because you've got the perfect cast, the perfect script, the perfect director, the perfect cinematographers, the perfect special effects crew, the perfect location. Everything came together in that very, very, very small 6-week window when they were shooting it in 1984 or 80. Was it at the end of 83? That all those people were there in that right time to make something so perfect.
I think as well with the unfortunate demise of
Harold Ramis.
Belushi.
Oh God, this could have been such a different movie.
It could have just been like a Porky's or.
It would have been. And if you had had John Candy as Ray.
I think there was talk about John Candy.
Or just as a. Oh no, he was going to be Lewis. I think John Candy was going to be Lewis Tully, and there was talk. And apparently, this might not be true. Winston's character was specifically written for Eddie Murphy to have a bit part in. Yeah. That's according to the internet.
I'm so glad everything turned out the way it did. I mean,
it would have been so different.
With Belushi dying, they brought in Bill Murray.
Crackers whack,
boys. Don't do drugs.
Don't get high in your own supply.
Yeah, don't do drugs. Bad for you.
Drugs are for me.
So Bill Murray coming in. I don't think it would have been the same without him.
No. It would have been an enjoyable movie, but I don't think it would have been. I don't think it would have kicked off.
I don't think we'd have been here talking about it now.
No, 100%. 100%.
Bill Murray wasn't in it.
Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Annie Potts.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver's not in this movie. I was fucking gutted.
But I think they said she wouldn't be in it from the end of the last one. Yeah.
Oh.
But
I mean, maybe after last time she didn't bother.
There was loads of hype post Afterlife whether Oscar would be in the new movie.
Oh, everyone thought James Acaster's character was going to be Oscar. Yeah.
But he was going to have a double barrel name, wasn't it? So it's going to be Oscar Barrett Venkman. And then you see,
fucking hell.
I think it's the Wikipedia page. Paul Rudd's character's double barreled as Gary Grierson Spengler.
Ah,
yeah,
I see.
So, and I quite like the little touch as well. Everyone gets their own flight suits, brand new flight suits, and Podcast's still wearing his Afterlife one with his handwritten name on. They're cute. Yeah.
It still infuriates me that character is called Podcast.
I'm Podcast. Why do people call you Podcast? Oh, I call myself Podcast because of my podcast.
I fucking hate that. I really wish they could.
So we're changing our names to Podcast.
I love it. So what are you going to be watching in the cinema next? Because I'm done with the cinema now. I don't give a fucking shit. I'm going to stick with the Magic Doofer off the Chinese one.
I think I've got another run of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the kids to see that. It's half term next week, so or the week after, depending on, or last week, depends on when this is released. Anyway, so I've got another run of Frozen Empire with the kids. What was the other one? I would quite like to see Romulus.
I can't wait. Romulus and Deadpool 3. I'm looking forward to going to see them in the cinema.
I won't go to the cinema to see Deadpool.
No?
No. Oh, I haven't been to the cinema to watch them ones for any Marvel movie for a while. The last Marvel movie I went to see in the cinema was Infinity War and Endgame.
Oh God! I shushed a child during.
I probably
it was either Infinity War or Endgame, but the film hadn't even fucking started yet. I think it was just when the rating was coming on the screen, and this kid was about 4 seats next to me. She was talking, so I just shushed her. She was about like 3 or 4.
Did you give her the full Eleanor Tweedy shush?
I just went shush, and then there was a massive pause. Everything fell silent, and then I just heard her go, "Mommy, that man shushed me." And I thought, yeah, go on. What? I've paid to be here. Take your kids and fuck off. God. Oh, this one time in the cinema, I went to Ridley Scott's Robin Hood. Do you remember that one with Russell Crowe?
Oh yeah.
I went to watch that on like a Tuesday at 11 o'clock when it's empty. That's when I like to go. Someone brought a baby in with them.
Get the fuck.
A baby, a crying child, an actual baby she brought into the cinema. I was absolutely infuriated.
Why would you pay to take your kids to cinema?
I don't know. This is why I hate cinemas. I love the community cinema. You know the one in the Plaza in Crosby?
Oh, it's brilliant.
Community cinemas, the small ones that have been there for years, they're lovely. They're specifically for people that just want the experience of watching a movie on a big screen. But the multiplex ones in retail parks, they need to fucking go.
I've been to that one in Crosby, and before it closed down, I went to the little one in Walton.
Oh, well, it
was amazing in there. And we went to watch Godzilla, the Matthew Broderick one.
Oh God, that's going back some years.
Yeah, and you can still smoke in there then. And they had intermissions. It was great.
Intermission. That's what a lot of movies need. Intermissions.
Oh, definitely, because
Oppenheimer needed fucking.
It doesn't matter how many safety reads you go for in the cinema, you still start busting.
Yeah.
And if you're getting free refills, then your bladder's full. So you definitely need an intermission.
You had to drop that in there. Are you bragging or complaining?
I was bragging, to be fair, because I think there were 2 safety weeds, but we were delayed because they had the technical issue, so ours went straight to feature. We had no trailers, it was great.
Oh my God.
We sat there for like 15-20 minutes, so...
Spoiled rotten.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Cinemas just need to reconfigure cinemas. Cinemas need 3 screens for actual people who are movie fans that want to pay to watch a movie.
Yeah.
They need 3 screens. They need 3 screens as well for basic fucking idiots that want to go in there and rustle their Doritos, throw their nachos at each other, go on their fucking phones, watch do you know what I mean? That's what a cinema should be. The first front seats should be a creche. Throw your kids in it with a load of fucking bouncy balls and let them play. The middle section can just be wheelchair access that no cunt can fucking sit in.
Yeah.
And on the back rows can just be like an orgy. It's just people getting fingered with their date off Bumble. So it's just and then they can just watch TikTok.
People still do that. There's still people used to get fingered in the cinema.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've been fingered in the cinema.
It's probing time.
But yeah, so that's stuff. And instead of a movie or trailer, just have adverts and TikToks.
Oh God, yeah, that'll definitely. Imagine paying to go and watch TikTok.
People would fucking do it.
Shakaron, 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 shakaron.
That's the way it's going. I mean, I've got TikTok, and there's been times when I've sat there and I've been scrolling, and people have been talking to me, and it absorbs you. Your focus just tunnels into it, and it's horrendous.
It's weird.
But less TikTok, more interactions.
Yeah.
More finger.
But We're going to have a TikTok channel as soon, so give it a like,
Yeah.
give it a follow, give it a like and subscribe. But I think that's wrapped it up.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think we've covered all my nitpicky bits. I think that's it.
I don't think I've got any nitpicky bits because I'm overly biased.
Welcome to the movie podcast.
Yeah.
No, there's
I think when it
you're
comes
a
to
rational
this,
person,
yeah, I think when it comes to this, I can't be impartial. It's all or nothing. I either love it or I hate it. And I loved it. I loved them all. And if they change the name of Answer the Call, I'll love that too.
It's fine. It's not in the same continuity. It's a
No,
separate continuity.
but I think, you know, if they said Ghostbusters has a universe, a multiverse.
Well, it does. The comics say that.
And it ties in somehow, then I will fully accept it. I still won't. I still rather they called it something else, but I will accept it.
The Ghost Smashers.
Yeah, just call it. A nod to the original title, because anyway, yeah.
Right, yeah. So
We could
Ghostbusters
go on
Frozen
forever.
Empire. You loved it.
Absolutely loved it. Yeah.
I loved it. Took a second viewing, but did love it.
I'll probably watch it.
We'll both want to watch it again, basically,
yeah.
don't we?
Absolutely.
On the magic twofer from the Mogwai shop.
So yeah, click like, subscribe, follow us. Bye.
See ya.
Why do people call you podcast? Oh, I call myself podcast because of my podcast.